I'd never been entrepreneurial at all. It was never a dream. I wanted my paycheck at the end of the month. 28th of every month, I know that I'm going to get paid. All my direct debits go out on the 1st. I was never thinking about starting my own business. Yeah. For me, my job was security. And maybe at that point I realised, well, how secure is it? Because I just lost my job.
What's going on, people, or welcome back to the Blackprint, providing aspiring black entrepreneurs and business owners the blueprint to start your success story. I'm your host, Darren, and today, you know what, let me not say I'm joined by a very special guest, because this is an extra special guest today. The fact that she's even here and we're having this conversation again, guys, it's a miracle. But before we get into all of that, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Music, please give us a 5-star rating. That's all I ask for you guys. I'm the Uber driver today. I need that 5-star rating to help us shoot up the charts, organically get into the ears of other people. Right. Guys, if you knew how much just being right here, right now meant to me, honestly, I am joined by the founder of Vass, Zelica Jones.
Hello.
We meet again.
I literally was going to go, hi, stranger.
Okay, so for full disclosure, people, Zelica was actually meant to be one of the first episodes I released. Unfortunately, I had a bit of technical difficulty with my equipment. My hard drive failed. I lost 5 episodes, and Zelica was unfortunately one of those episodes. But quite fortunately, obviously I spoke to Zelica, let her know what happens. And she was willing to, literally, without me asking, you just said, listen, if we need to record again, I'm happy to record again.
Yeah, I mean, things happen. And you were kind enough to spend time and coming to speak to me. So, and I really enjoyed our conversation. So it's like, let's have it again.
I appreciate that greatly. And yeah, so here we find ourselves here today, guys. So how are you this morning?
I'm good.
Well, it's afternoon now, isn't it? It's just gone afternoon.
Yeah, I'm good. This is, it's January. It's every finance accounting person's worst month ever.
Yeah.
So I've got a lot of work on at the moment, but I'm not complaining because it's a fortunate position to be in to have a lot of work in. So
yeah. And how's your New Year's resolutions coming along? You still sticking to them, or?
Do you know what? I try not to make resolutions as such. It's more, how can I be better? How can I do better? Now that I've experienced everything I've experienced last year, what am I going to do with that? So yeah, I mean, my resolution or my aim for 2021 was to simplify everything. I definitely suffer from shiny object syndrome, so I get distracted. So I'll see something and I'm like, oh, I could love to do that. I'd love to do that, and I do a lot, and I'm getting older, and time with my family and my friends is really, really important to me. Yeah, and I just know that I don't need to be a superwoman. I don't need to do it all. I can choose to do the things that bring me the most enjoyment and just do that. And
No, that's great. Well, I think I need to get into the habit of not making resolutions. I think I'll feel better about myself 2 weeks into the new year if I didn't.
Yeah, the 2 things I did say is that I wanted to drink 2 litres of water every day, and I wanted to jog at least 3 times a week. I don't even think I've drunk 2 litres of water since the 1st of January. And
well, I've got you started for today.
Yeah, thank you. And my son had to do for football because of lockdown and everything, they're not able to go and do their football practice. their football coaches have asked them to go and do 2K runs.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, I'm going to come out with you. I'm going to do it with you. I ran for a minute and I wanted to throw up. I just gave him the phone because he had to, record.
Oh, like track his...
Yeah. I gave him the phone. I said, meet me around the corner. I'm going to cut through.
Yeah.
I'm so unfit. I'm really, really unfit. But I will not be beaten. No. I will try again.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, we'll let's try and get started.
Onto business.
So again, thank you very much for inviting me back down to your office to have this conversation again. But for those who are unfortunate enough to have not met you yet or know who you are, could you please just run us through a little introduction as to who you are and your business?
Okay, so yes, I'm Zelica Jones. I am a trained bookkeeper, and nearly 7 years ago now, I decided to start Vass. So I had been made redundant, and at that point, my son had just started primary school. My daughter was doing her GCSEs, and I think when you're made redundant as well, you realise that you're just a number, and you just didn't fit. It was it's a business decision for them. But I just wanted a little bit more control over my life, and so I decided to start. Well, I didn't even decide to start Vass as such. I just was going to become a freelancer. I was going to just do a bit of bookkeeping, do a bit of admin support. So I started that maybe like in the April, and then Vass kind of came about at the end of May. So I started off just offering bookkeeping, admin support. And then as time went by, my clients would then ask if I knew anyone who did social media, or I knew anyone who could help with their HR or other different, and I just thought, wouldn't it be brilliant to have a one-stop shop?
Yeah.
So they could just come and have all the back office support that bigger firms are able to benefit from. So that's when the thought of an agency kind of came about. So yes, I've been running that for 7 years. I have clients who are scientists or data scientists or marketing experts or salon software developers, just a wide spectrum of people. And so at the moment we predominantly support in areas as accounting, lifestyle management and admin. So we can act as your accounts department. We'll send out your sales invoices, do your credit control, do your payroll, VAT returns, help with your year-end accounts. In our lifestyle management, we recently just helped a client move house. So she literally left her home, went on holiday, and she came back and she walked into her moved home, basically.
Oh, as in like...
Yeah, she literally took the clothes she wanted to go on holiday.
Oh, wow.
We had keys, we went in, we packed it all up, we did the whole checkout with her landlords and things like that, moved everything into her new flat, got everything sorted. She came back and we're just able to hand her keys, and that was it.
Set up for you, ready to go.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then we are virtual PAs as well. So everything that you would enjoy from having a PA, but they're just not in your immediate space. So we can manage diaries, travel arrangements, inboxes, customer service inquiries. So it's just our typical Vass client is someone who is growing their business and they don't have the time or they don't have the interest of some of the important tasks that are related to their business, and they just want to focus on the thing that brings them the most revenue, and so they don't have time to book travel or the hotels or booking appointments or move or send invoices and things like that.
Yeah. So let's take it back then to you said 7 years ago, so 2013.
2014. So it was. I was made redundant in March 2014, and I'll be honest, I spent the first 3 weeks in bed, Because it did a lot to, I think it was my ego, because like I said, it's a business decision, it just doesn't work, but you take it personally. It's kind of like, why don't they want me?
Yeah.
Why?
Sorry, I was just going to, what was your career experience up until that point? What?
So I had predominantly worked as bookkeeper, office manager, operations manager.
Yeah.
So I'd always worked in small businesses. So it was lucky. So I didn't always just do the bookkeeping or just do this. I gained experience in lots of different areas like HR and a little bit of marketing, events planning, things like that. So yeah, I mean, what was particularly hard, I think, in the last job that I worked in was I had gone in as the bookkeeper and the office manager, and the CEO saw something in me. She was like, I don't know what your career aspirations are, but have you ever thought about being a chartered secretary? And I was like, I didn't even know what that was. And so when I looked it up, it was, like a professional company secretary. It was your responsibility to make sure that all the financial, legal aspects of the company and all the statutory stuff was done. And I knew that, I had to go and study for it. But for me, it was like, this could be something really, really good, actually. And I could go off and be a consultant and charge like a really nice day rate. So I started studying for that and supporting the business. And then she got really ill and she had to leave, and they got a new CEO in, and he was like, no, it's way too much governance, way too many meetings, way too many admin, and just literally slashed my job. And they were like, well, what you can do. And it was literally being like a junior version to what I was doing originally. And I was just like, no, I'll just go. So yeah, it was just, it really, really did kind of hit my ego badly. And I just felt like I didn't know what I wanted to do. Just, is this going to be it? Yeah, and I just kind of like lay in bed for 3 weeks. And one of my close friends had her own marketing consulting business, and she had started her business the year before. And she was just like, it's fine, just start your own business. And she was like, you're just going to offer admin and bookkeeping. There's loads of people that's going to need that. I didn't see it at first. I didn't see anything. I didn't know what I wanted to do. And honestly, hands on heart, I probably started my business to just shut her up. Because I was sick of this girl phoning me every day going, so what's your business called? And it was literally like, this girl, she tries to phone me again, at least I can tell. And that's kind of how I could easily have seen how I could have wallowed for a long time in my, this proper woe is me state for a while. And it was just kind of like, just shut up. I just started it. But I was lucky. My partner at the time was a web designer and graphic designer. And so he created my logo, did all my stationery, he designed my website. So there's some of those things that are a barrier to some people. Through like money or not knowing, I just kind of left it to him. So I didn't give him really any direction. I knew, I'm one of these people that know what they don't like. I don't know what I want though. It's just kind of like, he did something, I was like, yeah, I don't like that. And then he did it again and again. So yeah, so by May, I had my name, I had my logo, I had my stationery and my website. And then, yeah, off I kind of went. But then it was like, well, where am I going to get clients from? I don't know how to. I'm not a seller, I'm a doer. I like to just be behind my laptop, just kind of getting on with the work. So that was really, really hard. So what I did is joined like a virtual assistant agency. And the money was really bad, but I just thought that I would learn how to be a virtual assistant. I would learn the software and the processes and systems. And so it was during that time that I learned software like LastPass, where it saves, you can just have one master password and it saves all your other passwords. Your client could even share their credit card details without you knowing what the details are. So it kind of encrypts it, so it's all kind of like starred. But if you go onto our website, you can click and it imports their credit card details into it, and it pays for stuff, or learning about virtual cards. So I think like with Revolut, I don't know if it's still the case, but it was before. You can get like a virtual card, so every time you use it and the number changes again, so it kind of like helps with fraud and stuff like that. Even time tracking, so everything you do as a virtual assistant is you can do it on like on a time basis, but on a project basis, or you can just do it on time. So I was just like, well, how am I supposed to like look at my watch and kind of, but yeah, there's like loads of time tracking software that you could use, and literally the thing that you kind of sell as a virtual assistant is that the client is only paying for the time that you actually spend doing the task. So if it's taken 5 minutes, they pay for 5 minutes. If it's taken 30, whatever. But yeah, so you're kind of saying when you employ somebody, they could be sitting there. It's seasonal sometimes. Sometimes they're really busy. Sometimes they're not. You're at least just paying for what you do. So if there's not a lot to do, then you're not paying very much. You're not having to invest in software. You're not having to pay sick pay and holiday pay and all of that. So it was like I said, the money wasn't great, but I learned so much by, they were giving you all these clients, and there was all these different clients, and you're doing really like lots of different work. And I just learned the ropes that way. But it wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. And like I said, I'm not a seller. I'm not really good at I'm good at doing the work, not good at putting myself out there and talking about myself and what we do. So I definitely struggled with that.
No, I can imagine. And so with your friend let me rephrase. So do you think, prior to being redundant or being made redundant, do you think there was ever like a strand of entrepreneurship in you?
Never.
Because I'm just kind of thinking, how do you go from? Because I imagine being in a place where if you're made to be made redundant, a lot of people would just be like, okay, they might kind of, as you said yourself, you did for like 3 weeks. They might kind of be upset about it for a little while, but then eventually end up going back into work, right?
Yeah, because I'd only worked there for maybe 14 months. So it wasn't some, great lump sum of money. Literally, I think 2 months of money. So I knew that I had to make something work because I had a mortgage, I've got 2 kids. It was just me, single. So I knew it had to work. But yeah, I think I'd never been entrepreneurial at all. It was never a dream. I wanted my paycheck at the end of the month. 28th of every month, I know that I'm going to get paid. All my direct debits go out on the 1st. I was never thinking about starting my own business. For me, my job was security. And maybe at that point I realised, well, how secure is it? Because I just lost my job. I didn't do anything. Like I said, the numbers just didn't work anymore. It didn't make sense to them. And it's just off. So it was just a way, I think, of me being a freelancer, I felt like I would have more control over my life. I can't sack myself. I can't, make myself redundant or whatever it is. So it's like, it was a way of taking back control. And then it kind of just snowballed from there. Like everything that I'm doing today, if someone had said this is what it was going to be in like 8 years ago, I would have just laughed. Like, who? Look, let me just do my 9 to 5 and go home. So yeah, my mum always worked. My stepfather had his own business. My dad worked and then had his own business, but I don't feel like it was in my blood. I don't feel like I almost saw my mum go to work every day, and that's what I was going to do, just go to work. There was nothing wrong with that. I was just going to go for promotion and work my way up the ladder, and for me that was going to be my life, and I was happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point you made just now about kind of, I guess, the influence around you in terms of your mum, for example. You said your mum was very much kind of go to work, and I'm kind of resonating with that a lot, because even one of my friends who I know will be listening to this, I had a conversation with him about, it was literally about just over a year ago, probably like a year and a half ago, and he's quite a serial entrepreneur, if you like, and he's actually going to be someone that will also be on the pod, so we'll hear his story. But I remember telling him, it's like, I don't feel like an entrepreneur. I feel like I'm more cut out just for work and getting my job done, and as you said, kind of the security and having the paycheck at the end of every month. Until I had a similar experience where got a phone call, said your services are no longer required. So I'm like, sorry.
Oh, we can laugh about it now.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so that's what we're gonna do. So, but I think the interesting thing with that is I had ideas of kind of, in the last year, if you like, I had ideas of going into business for myself and even starting this podcast, for example, little things like that. But again, it was kind of just like, oh, but the security's there. I've got the paycheck. I don't really need to. And then that happened. It's like, okay, no, I'm actioning this. I'm putting plans in motion and making sure I get into it. But also, as I kind of mentioned in the point with your mum, I feel like with me personally, that comes from both of my parents were kind of just, they came over because my background's I'm from Sierra Leone. They came over from Sierra Leone and kind of both just went into work, right? And so that's what I was used to. I wasn't kind of used to entrepreneurship, business ownership and all that type of stuff.
Definitely it was other people.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be, and it wasn't because it was above me or beneath, nothing. It just wasn't my portion. It just wasn't going to be, it just never ever factored in my head that was ever going to be my life.
Yeah.
Just ever. I don't think, when I think about it, there's not a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs in my family. So maybe that is what I grew up around, you know, just seeing people go to work. So that's what I was going to do.
But then also in terms of kind of like the starting then, I know you were saying it was your friend who very much obviously pushed you towards that, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit more. But in terms of within yourself, there must have been something there that your friend triggered, as opposed to, or was it purely just I'm trying to shut my friend up, like, oh my God, she's calling me again. What's the name of my business? I don't have a name yet.
I knew that I didn't want to go back into the workplace.
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to because I was vexed, innit? Get rid of me. I did feel it was ego.
Yeah.
It was ego that was kind of like, I'm never going to put myself in a position where someone can do that to me again. Which then only left one other option.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, I can't do that, so I'm going to have to do that. It wasn't like, I love, you know, I love being an entrepreneur and I can't wait to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to do this and I'm going to build this. It was like, well, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to have to do that. So off I went, sort of thing. There was no business plan, there was no strategy, there was no anything. I just literally just started. And that, you know, it was a really, really scary time. So I'd gone to go and work for this agency and I had a few jobs through that, and then I got like a few other clients myself, but nowhere enough to like cover my bills. And I would say for the first 18 months it was really tough. It was tough like financially. So I had bailiffs coming, I couldn't pay my phone bill. It was actually, when I think about it now, it was comical, but I then miss a call from a client because my phone had been cut off and I couldn't call them back. So I'd even go to the loo with my phone because I knew, and then it got to a point where then I went and bought like a little SIM, like a pay-as-you-go SIM, so that if my phone did get cut off, I could call them back and go, oh, I don't know, I was trying to answer the call and I couldn't answer it, and I could call them back from this other number. You know, there was times where there wasn't a lot of food in the house, and literally whatever food there was, I gave it to the kids, and I would just sit and I would eat cornflakes or just have a bit of toast. Because, and it was tough, and there was times where I literally sat down, I was like, what am I doing? Because this wasn't the plan. It wasn't like this dream of being this big business owner or this entrepreneur. It was just, I was like, what am I doing? This is like so selfish, because I don't want to go and get a job, because I don't want to work for anybody else. Look what I'm putting my family through. It was really, really tough. And it got to the point where my mum, where my son went to school was just outside London, and my mum had retired by that point. So she was like, do you know what? It was costing me something like 22 quid a day just to go take him to school and come back again. So she was like, look, I've got a free travel card. Let me take him to school and pick him up at least. So that's how, my mum started helping like with the school run. It was tough. Like we would finish, like my son would finish school, and we'd pass this bakery, and he would, just ask for like a cake, and I'd be like, no, there's food at home. But just knowing, because I just couldn't afford it. I just had no spare money. I remember it was his 5th birthday, and I sold one of my Chloe handbags because I really wanted him to have a really nice 5th birthday. For me, it was like a milestone. And so then I started selling items of clothing. So I sold like shoes. So I've got quite large feet. So I've got like size 9 feet. So you can imagine I was selling my shoes to little drag queens. Literally meet them in Starbucks, like hand them over the shoes and get the cash. It was a mad time. But yeah, literally going through like my wardrobe. I then, was selling my clothes on eBay, selling designer handbags, selling shoes. It was just kind of like, well, where am I going? I can't afford to go out anyway. So started selling stuff. My mum and my granddad as well would literally go to Sainsbury's for me and just rock up to my house and just hand me over bags of shopping, like pasta, rice, veg, because they knew I was struggling. And there was no conversation about it. They would just like walk in, drop it down, be like, all right, see you, because they just knew. It's just, and yeah, there was lots of times I just thought, what am I doing? And I just wanted, but I just couldn't. The thought of me going back into the workplace just filled me with absolute dread.
So because I was going to ask, how did you, because especially when you were saying that wasn't the plan, how do you stay motivated to just keep going, especially if obviously you went through quite tough times?
The only thing that motivated me to keep going is because I didn't want to go and get a job.
Literally, yeah.
I literally didn't want to go and get a job. And I just knew something had to change. And I literally felt like I was just hitting my head against a brick wall. I was just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to change this. I don't know. And I got into Facebook, I got into Instagram, and I was posting. I didn't know what I was posting. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I needed to do. And then this same friend, she started some networking events. So she was like, oh, can you come and help out? Just direct people or tick off names or things like that. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'm going to support my friends. And at one of her events, so I think she had quite a few, and I would go and help her for free, at her events. And it just, for me, it was like, it's something for me to do anyway, and I'm just helping out my mate. But at one of these events, this lady, she's like a marketing lady, and she just spoke about how she had started her business, and she had to run away from quite an abusive relationship, and her children were sleeping in a car, and and then now she had this successful business. And I just felt like, not that I had to sleep in a car, whatever it was, but I kind of was able to relate, and it resonated with me about the struggle and like building. And so she was like a marketing coach, and I thought, well, maybe if I just knew how to market myself, it would help. I start getting clients then in that way. So I joined like some of her free groups, and then she had like a paid coach, like a group coaching session. And so I decided, you know, if I'm gonna learn how to do this, I'm gonna have to invest something. So literally I had no money, and I joined up to this group not knowing how I was gonna pay her. So I think it was like 600 quid, and I had to pay her like £200 a month for 3 months. I paid the first month, and the second month I was like, I got no money. So I said to her, look, before I take any more resources and your time, I'm just saying I can't. And she was like, nah, sorry, you've signed, you've got to pay. I was just like, I just don't know where I'm going to get this 400 quid from. And then I saw a post about startup loans, and so I went for a startup loan of like, I think it was like £3,000, and you have to go in front of a panel and present your business idea. You've got to know your numbers. You know, if you have this £3,000, what will it do to your business, and how you generate more money, and how you're going to be able to pay us back. So I had to do all of that, and then I was given the £3,000, so I was able to give her £400. I bought a new laptop and just other things for the business. And to be fair, I finished the course, and I probably still am none the wiser of how to market myself. But what it did do, one of the things that she wanted me to do was really understand my client. You know, who is my client? What does my client read? Where do they hang out? Where do they network? What are their interests? Because she was like, you're not getting any clients because you're networking with other startups. They're not your client. They're not the ones who have the funds to pay you to do their bookkeeping. They're still doing their bookkeeping themselves. Yeah. You need the person who has probably been in business for a few years. They're at a certain level. You know, it's like trying to get business from other broke people. It's just not going to happen. But it was kind of like, it was so simple, but it was like, but of course, you know, I had so many conversations with people who were kind of saying, oh, I can't wait until I'm at that level, and then I'll call you and I can use your services, but I'm not there yet. Yeah. So one of the things she got me to do, she was like, I need you to find 5 people who are your ideal client and interview them so that you can understand them. What newspapers do they read? Where do they go and network? What kind of events do they go to network at? That's where you need to go and network. But you need to understand the psyche. You need to understand them, right? So one of the people that I interviewed was my friend's husband, and he was like, "Oh, didn't know you. What is your business?" I was telling him, he's like, "I didn't know you did. I need a bookkeeper." So I started doing his bookkeeping, and then he introduced me to 2 other people, and then they introduced me, and then for me, that's what kind of started the ball rolling. Yeah. So it was me actually telling people in my circle what I did, and very, very quickly I realised that my circle was like the cheapest but best PR ever, you know. Yeah. Then I spoke to somebody else, and then I was doing their bookkeeping, and then through that, their accountant wanted me to do the bookkeeping for their clients, and it just kind of snowballed. Yeah, it just snowballed. But for me, it was a simple thing of, I wasn't embarrassed, but I also found it really hard to talk about my business to my circle. Yeah. I don't know if it felt like maybe I was showing off. I don't know. It was just kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just doing this thing. It's nothing, no biggie. Yeah. It's just this thing. But once I actually started to talk about it and telling people what I did, then of course when they speak to somebody else and someone might say, oh, do you, because bookkeeping and PA and it's quite a personal thing. It's not everybody that you want to know your money, your finances, or your personal being. It's not something that you really flick through a yellow pages to find a bookkeeper or an accountant. You're going to look for a personal recommendation. And that's exactly what happened. When I started talking about it and having those conversations, then it stuck in people's minds, and they may not have needed me, but then they might know somebody who's, or with somebody asked them, they'll be like, oh, you need to speak to Zelica, actually. So yeah, biggest lesson I learned was to be mindful of who your ideal client was, and to network in the places where they are, and not other startups. You know, if startups are your client, then cool. But startups weren't my client. And to sing from the rooftops about what you do, it's kind of like, if you're not proud enough, if you're not confident enough to talk about your own business, then who is? Who's going to do it? You know, no one can speak as confidently or as passionately about my business than me. One thing I really struggled with at the start of my business was like the elevator pitch, you know, just speaking about your business. And when I first started, it was really like, oh my God, what am I going to say? But if you ask me now, I don't need to think about it. I know exactly what we do. I know what we offer. And I'm confident about our services and passionate about my business. So I'm able to just say it really, really, really easily. So it's like, know what you're doing, what you offer. It's not about like, I do this and I do that. What is the problem that you solve for people? That's what's gonna resonate with people, because if they're struggling with a problem, they'll be like, oh, I need her. So if I'm saying I help people understand the numbers in their business, I help them make better business decisions about their business because they have a clear understanding of what goes in and out, that's going to resonate with someone going, I couldn't tell you how much I spend on what I spend. I just know the money comes in and the money goes out. I think we're very focused on making money, and making 100 grand is wicked, but it's no point if you spend 99,999. Do you know what I mean? And have this £1 profit. I'm all about trying to keep as much money as profit as possible. Is your business profitable? And you won't know to tweak things if you have no understanding about your number. So so it doesn't matter what service you offer. When you're talking about it, talk about the problem that you solve. It's not about you. I do this and I do that. It's like, how do you solve others' problems? That is, so, you know, if you're working in marketing, I help people become more visible. I help them become more visible within, their target audience, or, I help people understand that whatever it is, whatever your business is, what is the problem that you solve? That is what's going to make someone go, oh, I need that. That's exactly the thing that I struggle with.
And so in terms of the networking, were you good at that from the jump, or?
No, I'm a confident person, but I'm only confident in my comfortable stage. So I'm confident around my friends, I'm comfortable in my home, I'm confident with my family. But when I'm put in a situation where I'm not comfortable, I'm not confident, and become quite shy, and that's when the imposter syndrome kicks in. It's kind of like, who do you think you are? And, just thinking, oh God, what's on my face? Am I going to trip over? Your mouth goes dry. I found it really, really, really hard. I found it really hard to speak about what I did and what my business was. And, I sucked so bad.
So how did you get better at it? Was it just repetition, just keep going to networking events?
Because I became more confident about the service that I think, because it's easy to become confident when people gas you. So the more clients I got and the more people I helped and the more people were like, oh my God, thank you so much. You've done X, Y, and Z, and I'm so glad I've got... You're like, yeah, I can do this. I'm good at what I do. It really does build your confidence. It really, really does help.
Yeah.
So I feel like as my client list went up, the more people I helped, the more people I supported, I could feel confident, like I'm really doing something. And then you can, and I think then the vision kind of started to open up, like this could really be a thing.
Yeah.
I could really build something here. And then it was like, I'm all about building generational wealth, financial freedom. I'm not obsessed with being wealthy for just having the money. It's almost like I want to build something to create wealth, to give myself the choices.
Yeah.
You know, my father's not well and he lives in the States. You know, being wealthy or having money is going to enable me to fly backwards and forwards to see him, COVID, you know, allowing, to spend time with him and not even think about it, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, my dad, in 2019, he had his second stroke. I was able to just like buy a ticket and go and go and see him, and it wasn't even like a thought. I could do that. So for me, it's the choices that I'm able to make as I build. Yeah. You know, so I just was more passionate. I had focus. I had vision. I knew. I then started to think further than it just being something that provided me enough money to pay my mortgage and feed the kids. Yeah. It's like I can do more than that. That's when I started thinking about building the team, because we've only got so many hours in the day. We can only bring in so much revenue ourselves. The way that I knew that I was going to do something a lot bigger than what I had initially thought was to build the team. And with, like I said, like with every day when you start building a team and you've got your freelancers and have employees and you're building your client list and you're getting slicker, and you start to build your systems and processes in your system, in your company, you naturally just become really confident about what you're doing. Yeah. So don't get me wrong, if I go to a networking meeting and then someone said, oh right, you've got to stand on stage, I'd still feel like I want to throw up. I'd still feel nervous, but I just don't feel like I need to prepare in the same way. I remember being on a call. I was on like this mastermind call, and I thought I was just going to be listening. And I have to admit, I was really hungover. And then they were like, right, so everyone who's new, could they introduce themselves? 30 seconds. I literally was like, oh God. I was like, but as soon as they were like, right, Zelica, all right, go. I was on.
Game face on,
Yeah, I was on, because it was like, I don't know if there's potential clients. I've just got to be, I know my business. I know what we do. I know what we sell. I know what problems we solve. So I just spoke about that, and you just don't really think about it after a while. But you know, I'm passionate about the service that I provide. So I feel like I can do that. But it's come after a certain amount of time. Like I said, it wasn't just one thing. It was certain factors. And now it gets to a point where I'm just kind of like, you better recognise who I am, you know. It's just, you know, you're like, I know what. I used to send off a proposal, it's going to cost X amount. And then they might come back and go, oh, you'd be like, but I can do it for cheaper. It's fine. And literally talk yourself out of loads of money, because it was like, I just need to secure the client. And now I have the confidence to send out a proposal and say it's going to cost that much, and someone can go, oh, it's a little bit more expensive than I will need it to be. And I'm like,
that's your business.
Okay. You know, the most that I might say is, well, what's your budget? Yeah. So say if I've said it's going to cost £500 and they're like, well, I've only got £300. I will do £300 worth of work then. You know, it's kind of like what I can do for £300 is this. So instead of to give them £500 for no, it's like, well, what? Okay, I'm not doing that, but what I can do, the support I can offer, is going to be do that. And again, that's come with confidence. Yeah, it's like just knowing your worth. I know it's such a cliche thing to say, but it really, really is that for me to do this thing for you, it's going to cost X amount, and that's what it is. Of course, I have passion projects. I have people that I do things for free because I feel so passionate about what they're doing. I'm happy to do it. Or I come across people who are just starting their business and just having a conversation with them, they come across as someone who's really serious, and they come across to me like, if they had my support, they would thrive. They would really, really thrive. So I feel like if I hold your hand for a little bit, and I know you don't have any money, but I just kind of sit down, even if we have like one phone call a month, I'm pointing you in the right direction, I'm giving you the advice. I'm like, in a year, they'll come back and they'll be a Vass client. You know, there are certain people I just think, actually, if they just have a bit of a helping hand, they'll fly. And so probably like once a year, there's probably someone like that I kind of help in that way. But I can only do that because I've been able to build up the business to afford me to be able to do that. But yeah, those are the people that really make me feel like, I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing. When it's almost like, if they have to wait a couple of years to be able to generate the funds in order to, they probably won't even last to that, you know, because they really don't know. And there's so much on the internet. Everything is on Google. Everything can be Googled. Absolutely everything. But sometimes it's just said in such a way, it's just really, really difficult to understand. And if you could only have people who hold your hand and talk you through and guide you through all the terminology, it's kind of like you'd thrive. You'd be massive, you know. And so I'm always looking out for people like that to make sure that I feel like I can help nurture the journey, or nurture them, or support the skills that they already have to kind of push them forward. You know, one of my biggest clients is someone who I met in Starbucks in Selfridges when they first started their business, and they just wanted to know, how should I organise my receipts, my finances? So I taught her how to do that, gave her like a mini tutorial how to use Xero, which is like a cloud accounting system. And then we had lots of phone calls and I've just kind of supported her. And now her business is massive, you know. So she got to a point where she was like, actually, I just don't have the time. Could you just help me? And I maybe did like 3 or 4 hours a month for her. And now I'm doing more like maybe 30 hours. Oh, wow. You know, and not only am I doing like the bookkeeping, but we're having strategy meetings, we're putting together budgets, you know, so someone who just kind of, like I said, started off giving her a bit of advice, a bit of free advice over coffee, and she took that advice and she built it, and she's built it and carried on building it, and I've watched the whole journey. So like a very protective big sister of this particular client and her team. And that makes me feel really, really proud. Like, that's what happens when, I'm not saying just because she understood her numbers, because she's got to this point, but it definitely helps. And it's just an example of someone who took all the advice and took all the support seriously. And it's like, well, look at her now.
No, that's powerful, and especially with the message behind really knowing your business type of thing. I think it could be surprising how many people just don't actually know what they actually do or how they do it or what problem it is they solve. And a lot of people potentially going into business for the wrong reason of, I just want to make money. It's like...
Yeah, but it's like sometimes you've got to work out, well, how am I going to make that money? So, you know, if you've never run that business before, you may not know how to price something, or and it's either going to be based on historical data or research kind of data.
Yeah.
When you're kind of working out prices for stuff, or, you know, some of it's going to be like hypothetical. Like, if I sell so many products at this price, that's what I'm going to generate, and kind of working out where you want to be. You know, it's just really knowing your numbers. If you go into Dragon's Den, you've got to know your numbers. You're asking someone for more money, you've got to know your numbers. If you go for a startup loan, they're not going to just give you the money. How do you plan to spend that money?
Yeah.
And you can't just pluck figures out of the air. It has to be based on something. Like I said, it's either historical data or it's like industry data or whatever it is. You've got to know your brands and what it does, and potentially and whatever it is. And so yeah, it's really, really, really important. And how are you supposed to make business decisions if you don't know what you've got coming in, you don't know what you're spending and on what you're spending it on? You know, even me, you know, I feel like my bookkeeping is always the last bookkeeping that I do. I'm like trying to rush to do it before my VAT return is due. And sometimes I look at it, I'm like, you know, maybe I need to calm down and all these bits of software that I sign up for. And it's like when it's in black and white, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Or, you know, looking and looking at the data to see if you can see trends. So if you can see that your revenue goes up in April and August, why does it go up in April and August? You know, is it a seasonal thing? Or it went up in May. Why did it go up in May? Because I spoke, you know, on your podcast or whatever it is. So, okay, I need to speak on more podcasts if that's what happens. If there's like a spike in my inquiries.
Hopefully that is what happens.
Of course. And if it does, I'm going to sue you. No. But yeah.
Bring me down here twice, you can't even get me clients.
But it's like that. It's kind of like, why are things happening?
Yeah.
And if that happens and something good, well, I'm going to carry on doing it. If I do that and actually it wasn't good, well, I'm never going to do that again. You know, if you don't know how profitable your product is, it's like if you've got this one product and you've got a profit of like 20 quid, you've got another product and the profit's like 2p. Like, you stop doing that product. Like, it's no point. But you don't know that until you look at the data and until you look at the figures. And so it's almost like if you don't know how to do it yourself, then you've got to have someone to show you.
Yeah.
So it's very, 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 very important to know your product or service. Like I said before, what's the problem that it solves? It's almost, I remember seeing this, is it a Venn diagram, the one where you've got the overlapping circles?
I think it might be called that, yeah.
So they say like when you
the one with like the three circles that when they combine, yeah.
So it's like, what is something that people need? What is something that people buy? What is something that you're good at? And what is something that you could do as a job or something like that? And whatever that is, that's your purpose. That's the thing that you kind of do. And so it's like you have to look at your skills, and then look at, is it actually something that people need? But if you don't do the research and get the data about it, you almost won't know.
Yeah.
So definitely do your research, which it's a bit ironic because I did no research when I started my business. But I almost feel like when you at least have a plan, you don't need to stick to the plan.
Yeah.
You'll veer off, you know, and that's absolutely fine. But at least have a target to work to.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I thought like I want to do, I can't remember what year it was, and I was like, I want to do 75,000, but I didn't actually have a plan of how that was going to be made up. You know, how many hours would that mean that we need to be billing, and it was like I plucked like a number. I was like, I just that's what my turnover I want to be, and to be fair, it's only in the last year I've actually just really started working out what is it that I want and what do I need to do to get there. So I've got 2 business coaches, and one of them was saying to me, you know, what's your 10-year plan? I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing next week. But she was saying, you know, and this was something that was told to me at the beginning of my business, and I didn't really take it on. But she's like, I need to know where you want to be in 10 years so that we can map out the next 10 years. So you know where you need to have got to in 5 years, and 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you need to do each quarter to be on track to be in that place? So whether that place in 10 years is literally not working lying on a beach, well, how are you gonna get there? How are you building the life that, you know, building the steps to the life that you really, really want? So that's how I've kind of how things have kind of changed within the last year. But I feel like I've been on the hamster wheel, just kind of like doing, and then it's almost like you do have control over where you're going and what you're doing, and it's like, what do I want? What do I want to do? And I've gone from managing a lot of clients to kind of just saying, what is it that I enjoy doing, and how can I do more of that? Or how can I just concentrate on doing that? And I feel like I've earned the right now. I've worked really, really hard, and I've earned the right to just do what I want to do, just do the things that I really enjoy, and then do what my clients do, outsource to my team. It's like, actually, this is the thing that generates most revenue for the business, and actually I really, really enjoy it. So I'm going to put a lot of effort into doing it, and this I don't need to do. And kind of get other team members to be able to do that. And it's almost been hard to kind of do that, because again, imposter syndrome can kind of kick in, and it makes you feel like, who do you think you are? Like, girl, you be grateful that you've got these clients and just get on with it. But it's like, I'm a big believer in that the things that you really enjoy, you're going to put more effort into it.
Yeah.
It's not going to feel like work. You're not going to be like, when's the weekend? Do the things that you really, really love. And I feel like I'm now in a position where I can do that, and it feels weird and it feels strange, but it's also, like I said, what I sell. It's like, do the things that you love, do the things that generate the most income for your business, and then just outsource the rest. And I'm able to have a team that I can outsource stuff to, and also not even just my team, but the industry as a whole is so big that literally it is anything that I need, I can just tap into contacts to find anybody to do anything. So yeah, it's kind of like, just why sit there knocking your head about something or worrying about something where you could potentially just like outsource it. It's like, even in your own, it could be the littlest thing, and it could just lighten your load by like an hour or 2 hours. But it's just one less thing you've got to even think about.
I think that's something I'll struggle with, because I'm so bad at just delegation. I'm just like, I just want to do, I don't know why, I just have this like serious protectiveness on ownership over anything that I'm doing.
You're a control freak.
Yeah, so I'm just like, I mean, you didn't have to feel like that, but yeah, I mean.
And I can say it with chest, because I know that I'm a control freak. It's like,
can you speak for yourself then?
Like, do you know what? It's just long. It's long for me to show you what to do. I just do it myself. But then, and then I'm there up to what time in the morning, trying to do it all. And it's just like, I don't need to do it all. I don't need to try to pretend I'm this superwoman because I'm actually not. I remember my ex, we were having an argument once and he was like, oh yeah, I forgot you're this independent woman. I'm like, actually, you know, bruv, I'm not. I'm really, really not. Like, the reason I can do all of this is because I have a really great support system around me, whether that's in my business or outside of my business. Like, my friends always keep me gassed, you know, like, but that's what you need, you know.
So I was actually going to touch on to this now, actually, about kind of support, because obviously earlier on you mentioned obviously you started a business because of your friend, obviously the early stages of the business where your family were kind of coming and helping you with food and stuff like that, and so it is kind of just if you could speak to kind of how important the support around you is. And I know in your sense, you kind of, in some of the examples you gave, you didn't necessarily ask for the help, but how important you might think it is to be able to ask for help in potentially early stages of your business, etc.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, it would be hypocritical of me to go like, mate, you know, you should just do this. I know sometimes it's really hard for me to ask for help. And I do know that's a big challenge for me. Like I said, it's all ego. It's being vulnerable and saying like, I don't know how to do something, or I don't know how to move forward, or whatever it is. But I remember there was like a sign up in the physics room at school, and I never forget it. And it said, someone who doesn't know but ask is a fool for 5 minutes, but someone who doesn't know and doesn't ask at all is a fool forever.
Wow.
And for me, it's kind of like, what's more important? It's like for me to save face, or for me to kind of move forward. So I
think I'm gonna have to put a trigger warning when this goes on to YouTube. That one hit home, boy.
I know, it's all gonna be like, I feel attacked. But for me, it's kind of like, I've had to, it's still a challenge, but I've realised how more fulfilled and content and like lighter when I go, oh, I don't even know how to do that. Like, who can I ask to help me? And your support, the people you have around you, is really, really important. If you're in business, you do not need to have a whole circle who's in business too. You just have to have people around you who are like-minded. So whether they are an employee, whether they're business owners, it's people who are trying to move forward, who's trying to do more. Just whatever boat that you're in, they have to be like-minded. So all my friends, they're not all the same, and they offer different kinds of support. So I'll have the friend who gives me that quality time. It's like, have you ever done your love language quiz? What's it called? Friendships are exactly the same, you know.
You know, someone said this to me literally last week, that you can have love languages with your friendships. Who?
I'm telling you, right? So my predominant love language is acts of service. It's when you do something for me that means I don't have to do it. It could be something as simple as running me a bath. It could be something as simple as just doing the washing up, doing the food shopping, doing something which means that I don't have to do it. For me, that's the way that I feel like I feel love. And I feel like that's how I show love. I do things for people. By me doing this, I'm showing you that I really, really care. Now, I don't think any of my friends, their love language is acts of service.
So you're just doing it.
So there was like, I'm not even going to lie, there was like a period of going, I got fake friends because no one don't do anything for me. And then another one of my friends was like, but what's your love language? I was like, it's acts of service and affirmation. So it's the words, right? So she's like, okay. She goes, maybe that's not their love language. And so when I was asking some of my friends, they were like, their love language is like quality time. It's like, actually, they make time for me. So if I'm venting, or if I'm going through it, you know, all of my friends, I've been on the phone for hours, you know, just kind of like offloading. And they're completely there for me. You know, there are different friends for like different things, but when I think actually they all show love in their own way, and then I receive it. You know, there's times when I'm tired, or maybe I've made a mistake and it's kind of knocked me, and it's been really, really nice to have a friend who's kind of going, okay, did anyone die? You know, just dust yourself off and you have to keep on going. So what, so who's gonna pay the bills if you stop this? Like, what's going on? Because I ain't got money to give you. You know, it's one of those, you know, laughing it off or whatever it is. But, you know, my dad, as far as my dad is concerned, I can do no wrong, you know, and there's a certain amount of confidence that comes with that I know, you know, who my parents see is not who I see in the mirror. You know, like my grandfather's passed now, but before he died, I had to move in with him. He was really, really ill and he couldn't be by himself. And he never understood what a virtual assistant business was. He never understood it. And just spending those 4 weeks with him, he got it. And he was like, you know, I'm so grateful for your business that allows you to be here with me. And, you know, it's knowing that when I was going through those lean times, the way that he would just turn up at my house with food and or money or whatever it is, it's just been a great support. You know, I'm a real daddy's girl, so if I say left, it's left. And my dad, I remember when I first started my business, he used to send me like $300 every month. He was just like, you know, just use it for whatever. I said, like, even my ex, you know, just doing my website, doing my station room, doing my logo. My friend who's got the marketing business, she would give me like tips, like just do this or just do that. But I always kind of was hesitant in asking her too much because I didn't want to feel like this is what she does for a job. I don't really want to take advantage and try to like suck her dry of all the information. But yeah, it's not every day that you're going to be pumped and motivated to kind of keep on going. Sometimes you just need people around you that are going to drag you over the line. It's kind of like, no, we all winning, you know. And today for you, tomorrow for me, you know, whatever it is, it's like that particular day, you just need people around you who are going to fix your crown for you, you know, get you all the way together and just encourage you to keep on going and to remind you why you're doing it, you know. The other day, I sat down with my son and I said, and he said he had done it with his dad, 3 things that they like and they don't like about each other, right? So I was like, okay, we're gonna try this. And even at 12, I didn't realise that your kids are so watching you. And he said to me, I said, what's 3 things that you love about me? And he said, I love the way that you love. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I just love the way that you love me and my sister and you love your family. He's just really supportive. And he said, I love the way that you're so determined. And I was like, okay. He's like, you just get on with it. Doesn't matter what's going on, you just kind of get on with it. And he said, I love the way you juggle your clients. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, because, you know, I'll come in and you're doing this for this client and then you're doing something else. I just really, really admire that. And it just kind of made me feel like they're really watching. They really, you know, I'm always complaining, going, yeah, you know, you kids think this is standard. It's not standard, you know. There's things that kids are going through and you don't understand. But they do. Yeah. They do appreciate it. They do love it. I remember when my daughter was at university and I always say to her, if you're short of cash, you know, you don't need to feel. She's like, no, you've done enough. You've always been there. If I need cash, I'll call my dad. So I was like, oh, okay. And when you step away, you just think like, I raised them, and they're good kids, and you know they're watching me as well. So they kind of make me keep going, because this is for them as well, and for my grandchildren and my great grandchildren, and you know, especially for my daughter. I had her when I was 19, so she was my gap year project. And I started uni when she was 8 weeks. Yeah, literally, to get my picture done for my uni cards, I had to take her out of like the baby sling and hand her to someone. And yeah, and so she's really, really been on the journey with me. So I don't feel pressure, but I almost feel like I'm setting some sort of standard for her, for my son, that regardless, you just have to keep on going. You got your eye on the prize. Yeah. And whatever that means to you, whatever the goal is. Not everyone's supposed to run a business. And I hate when people are made to feel like working a 9 to 5 is like basic. It's not everyone's supposed to be a business. Not everyone's like wired in that way, and that's absolutely fine. But yeah, it's almost like whatever it is, whatever that goal is for you, you just have to work really, really hard not to be knocked off track. Do you know what I mean? Just, you're really, really focused, and sometimes you just need to focus on where you want to go. How you get there is actually not your concern. It's like, I'm so focused in getting there, and for me, that's what I'm trying to teach my children, or that's what I'm encouraging everybody around me to do. So of course people around me are going to keep me going to get to my goal. Yeah.
And would you say, so, because obviously you were saying about how that conversation with your son made you realise that that your children are listening and they are more observant than you probably thought at first. And also earlier on you were talking about, again, kind of like the earlier stages of the business where you found yourself having to kind of offload some of your possessions, if you like. How did that kind of change your perspective?
Do you know what? I was never like the pretty one at school. I felt like I was the one who always dressed nice, you know. Like, I remember leaving school and there was like a shop in the West End called Probito's, where you could always go and get like designer stuff, and that was like the first place. So my first job was in Marks and Spencer's in Oxford Street, and it was like, as soon as I used to get paid on a Saturday, it was like the first place I was going to. And I felt like how I looked was my identity. Everyone knew when Zelica's going out, like the shoes, the handbag, the clothes, the hair, the this. And then it's almost like you got to keep it up. You can't slip, you know. And almost when I had no money and I didn't have the money to buy the clothes, the handbags, the shoes, almost like, well, then who am I? I'm nobody. I didn't feel like I had a position, like, because that's who I was. And then when I started offloading my possessions, I don't know, it was almost like, but I'm still breathing, I'm still here, I'm still thriving, I'm still, so is that really who you are? You know, your possessions did not define who you are as a person. It's just window dressing. And I don't know. I feel like I'm just a nicer person now because there's just certain things that don't bother me. There's not things that I had a Zoom call yesterday with my head tie on. Like, I'm like, so, can we look at the numbers? You know, it was just, what I look like and what I'm wearing is not the problem I solve for my clients. You know, it's, I used to be hesitant in showing up on social media, showing up on Instagram, showing up on Facebook because I wanted to do a live or I wanted to do a video, but my hair's not done, my makeup's not done, or I'm looking fat or whatever it is. I just do it now. I look back at some of my videos, I'm like, you actually had a damn cheek posting that video that day, right? But when I look at the comments, and someone's saying, no one's saying like, actually I have this one cousin, she was like, so what, you couldn't brush your hair, yeah? And she definitely knows who she is. But in the comments, it's literally like, oh my God, I didn't think of that. Or thank you so much. Yeah. You know, I'm not a beauty influencer. I'm not, you know, like my hair and makeup is neither here nor there. You know, it's what I can kind of, it's the information that I hold is going to help people. So I definitely feel like there is no such thing as a coincidence. I feel like everything happens for a reason. I had to literally hit rock bottom to realise what's actually important. And I think that you're then more appreciative of the rise. Yeah, because there was like a time you would not have caught me in Primark. Go where what? No. You know, and now I'm like, I miss Primark so much. It's like, why would I spend more than £1 on tights? You know, just things like that. I just feel like I'm more respectful of my money. I'm building better relationships. It's not based on superficial stuff like clothes and handbags and raving in alcohol and whatever it is. It's just, I mean, how amazing, really. I know that everyone's kind of like, oh, so glad to see the back of 2020, but I don't know about you, I had a damn good time on house parties, right? Or having Zoom parties, or just making it work, or just, you know, when we were allowed back out and we were like meeting in the park and having like little picnics or whatever. Really simple, simplified way of life. We had been locked up for such a long time. We were grateful to just sit in the park with our friends.
Facts,
you know, it just kind of made me feel like you just appreciate life a little bit more, especially when you know where you've been. Like when you've had it so bad, you're like, do you know what? It actually, having just this isn't that bad. Like I said, I've actually felt like it made me a better person. There are no coincidences. I felt like I had to go through that to dig up the rotten foundations and kind of rebuild. And almost it's kind of like, sometimes you need to go through that because what's waiting for you, like if you carry on doing that, you're just going to spoil it. You're not going to appreciate it, and it's just going to, you almost needed to just experience this to rebuild so you can enjoy that. I'm a big believer of that. No,
nice. And so 7 years ago, obviously, work said, well, you can either effectively get demoted if you like, and you said, you know what, see you later, mate. Are you happy with the decision you made?
Now I am.
Looking back over the 7-year journey.
If you asked me like after a year, I'd be like, boy, I don't know. It's like, I probably have fleeting moments each year when it is particularly tough because it's not easy Not because you start getting clients and you start making money, you start building a team, that you're just home free. It's stressful.
Yeah.
I've gone through times where I've been so stressed that, you know, my face is broken out in spots, or my hair is dropped out, or I can't sleep, or all I want to do is sleep, or, you know, it's been stressful, you know, through juggling running a business. I've had to deal with the breakup of my 20-year relationship and just so many different changes. You know, there's been so many ups and downs on the journey. I do get moments I'm just like, you know what, forget this, it's not worth it. But for the most part, I'm really, really glad that I did. And like I said, it was never the plan. It wasn't like, when I'm so-and-so age, I'm going to do... It was kind of something that I fell into. And I'm so glad I did. The people that I've met, the relationships that I've built, it's been amazing. Yes, it's been stressful. Yes, it's been hard. But I almost feel as though... just teaching my kids, like, to just go for it, no matter the odds against you. You know, I know how hard it is to be a black person in this country, but I feel like at least I've taught my kids that regardless of any barriers, you can still do what you want to do. You know, yes, it is going to be harder. Yes, people see your colour and they, you know, and they can make judgments, or they can try and stop you, whatever it is, but we're just going to keep on going. You know, we're not even going to take it on, we're just going to keep on moving forward. So yeah, many moments of feeling like, girl, what are you doing? You know, but to have that conversation with my son and say, I love your determination, makes it feel like it's all worth it. Yeah. Or my son feeling like he wants to start his own business. So, you know, before last term, he was buying sweets at the corner shop. And in our corner shop, they've got like American sweets. Okay. So he was buying sweets and taking it into school. Because of COVID, they no longer have their tuck shop open. So he's been buying sweets and taking it into school.
Wait, they still have a tuck shop?
No, so they've got like a tuck shop in his school.
They dashed that quick time at my school.
What? They've got like a...
As soon as Jamie Oliver opened his mouth, they just got rid of everything.
They had a tuck shop in their school. Wow. They got like a street food van. It's
what?
Like, yeah. Wow. They're living life.
Nice. Sounds...
Yeah. So what's it called? He was going to the local Londis. He was buying these sweets and then reset. And like they've got like a WhatsApp group to be like, right, I've got so and so who wants it. He was so happy. Like they was
what's
like,
your offers?
Yeah, he was like, Mum, I made £10, you know, and I'm like, wow. But yeah, it's like that entrepreneurial spirit, you know. I remember my daughter was somebody asked her, you know, how much she paid a month for her car, and she's like, yeah, I pay like 500, and they were like, oh my god, that's a lot of money to pay for your car, which it really is. It's a Peugeot 106, like, but it's like I know people with Range Rover and Volks for that kind of money, but they were like, oh my god, it's so much money, like, what are you going to do if you lost your job? She was just like, go work for my mum. You know, she just like, she said it with so much confidence as well. And I was just like, really? And I was like, you can't come here. You know, but to even give her that kind of comfort that my mum's got me, it's fine, and I even have a space for her to be able to come to is like nice for me. I have said to her that she can't work for me though. I was like, well, you just finished uni. Yeah. What can you do for me? I know what I can do for you. What do you bring to the table? I build the table. You know, but nice. You know, just for her to have that comfort blanket of just knowing, if worst comes to worst, like, my mum's got me. I'm like, good. So it's things like that that keep me going. It's knowing that my mum and my daughter and her friends talk about me and my business and start, and they're like, oh, I was telling them, and then, you know, they're so proud of you, and kind of like, I got to keep going. I got to show people that no matter what, you can still do this. Might be a little bit harder, but we as a people, we're made of strong substance. Like, we've got this, we can do this. And I have my days, like I said, that it's like, I could just go and get a job, you know. I really, really good, because we were talking about it before. Like, I could just go and get a job, you know, because I get paid on the same day every month, and I can just shut my laptop at come a certain time and that's it, and I can enjoy my weekends. But to be given this opportunity and to kind of fall into it and run with it is amazing.
Nice. And so last 7 years, or over the last 7 years, what would you say you would, kind of looking back, what would you have done differently, if anything, over the last 7 years or so?
I feel like for the last 7 years, or nearly 7 years, I've kind of been winging it. Not so much over the last year. I feel like I've stopped and really looked at things with a little bit more clarity. I wish I had made a plan, because I feel like I've just been like going through this whole business life, just whatever's happened, just kind of like going with it, which is fine, and maybe that's what had to happen. But I wish I had a plan. I wish I had brought more structure into what I was doing. I wish that I had invested more into understanding about marketing myself earlier. But yeah, there's not too much I would have changed. Like I said, I don't feel like anything's a coincidence. I feel like everything happens for a reason. You kind of have to have these peaks and low moments. It's all part of the experience. But yeah, I think I wish I'd had more confidence in myself and what I did from earlier on. Wish I had a plan, and wish I was more comfortable to speak up about what I did. More understanding about marketing and sales and branding and things like that.
I think the good thing about life, obviously, is we are all where we are because of the decisions we did make, right? And so the fact that you are where you are, regardless of, I guess, kind of undoing my own question and your answer, regardless of what you feel like you could have learned from, even myself, what I feel like I could learn from my experiences, without those, we kind of wouldn't be where we are, and our perception would be quite different.
We never stop learning. I don't care how long you've been in business, how old you are. If you get to a point you're like, I know it all, how boring is that? How do you never level up? You know, I can always learn more. I learn from my kids. I learn from having, listening to the conversations they have with their friends. I learn from so many different situations. So yeah, you never stop learning. You never stop learning a new lesson. And the most important thing is, from that moment on, to just do better, because now you know better. Just to take all these lessons and and just learn from them and see how you can be better next day. It's not about beating yourself up like, oh, I'm stupid, or I should have done that. It's like, okay, all right, well, I know better now, so what should I have done better? So yeah, we never stop learning. Never feel like you're there. You're never at the top. You can always do a little bit more. No, nice. And I don't know if I asked you this one last time, but it's one I've started to ask everyone.
what advice would you give to the aspiring entrepreneur, business owner who wants to get into business for themselves, whether kind of in your space or anything else? What would you say to them?
Yeah, regardless of the space, I feel like you always need to know your stuff. So yes, if you're starting and you're a marketing consultant or you're a web designer or you're a mechanic or whatever it is, you should know your numbers. You should know there's certain data you should just know about. You should budget. You know, even if you go for investment, to get that investment in the first place, you had to kind of like put together a budget. And it just helps you stay on track for your goals. In order to get there and to be able to achieve that, you need to be able to do X, Y, and Z. So, you know, really budget, really take control of your numbers, really understand what's going on in your business. But also just start. I think sometimes we want to make it so perfect and so amazing that we then do nothing. Yeah. And sometimes you just need to start. And it's going to be a bit of trial and error. Just getting out there, just try, like, oh, actually that doesn't work. It's a great thing that I didn't spend the next 6 months just trying to hone this one thing when it doesn't even work. And yeah, you know, for me, me starting a business, I had to go all out and just have the business. I know that if I had got a job and I was working on my business on the side, it would never have happened. So I would have got way too comfortable. But do what's best for you. I'm not saying that that's what everyone should do. Sometimes you might just be building it in the background. My client that I was saying that I met her in a coffee shop. She had a whole job and she was like packing boxes in her bedroom. You know, so she was working till 7, coming home, having a bit of a sleep, and then working, sleeping for a little bit, waking up at 5 to pack a you know, you just... It's what she felt that she needed to do in that moment. So definitely know your numbers. Just get on with it. Just do it. And really believe in yourself. Like, have that confidence. If you're going to do this thing and you really believe in that product or that service, be confident about it. You know, just there are lots of very average people out there. Right, doing what you can do brilliantly, and the difference is they are just doing it. You know, I see people out there all the time killing it. Are they the best? No, but they're doing it. And you got to give that respect to them. So yeah, just do it. Doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be all, you can tweak it. You know, I tinkered with my website for a year, not putting it out, and I was like, I just wanted to change that. Just put it out, and I was just so proud of it. So yeah, just get on with it.
No, nice, thank you. And what does success mean to you?
Success for me is, I will feel successful when I can do the things that make me happy. So success will be the fact that I can just jump on a plane and go and see my dad, go and spend Christmas with him, or go to South America, go to Guyana and go see my grandma, or go and see my family in Ghana. Or, you know, success for me is being able to help my children with deposit to buy their property, because I feel like life is hard enough and stressful enough. I don't need to add money worries onto them. Success is being able to go on holidays and creating memories with my friends and my family. That's when I'll feel successful, when I can do anything like that, when I feel like, yeah, I've kind of taken away this money barrier for my immediate circle. Just me feeling really content and really happy with my life. That's, for me, success. Being content, being happy. And then what comes from that. So the things that make me happy are my friends, my family, my children, bring me joy. So me making memories, spending quality time with them, I feel like I'm successful enough to be able to carve out that space. So yeah, that's the aim. to be happy. And when I say be happy, it's absolute happiness. It's not relative. It's not the shoes, the handbags.
Yeah.
That's fleeting happiness. It's just that genuine feeling of content in life. And until I feel like I get that, I don't feel like I feel successful.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you very much for that. Thank you very much. No, I appreciate it.
Like we had a whole different conversation.
I feel like that as well. You know? I actually feel like that as well. I'm thinking we've actually gone longer than we did last time, and there were definitely some new stuff in there. That's brilliant. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And my last question and request. 2021. We've obviously just started a new year. What does kind of the horizon look like for you? What's your plan? 2021, how do you plan to go bigger and better, if that's the plan, and what's the next steps for you?
Definitely, I'm trying to. 2021 is much more simplified for me. I'm not trying to do it all. I'm not trying to juggle so much. But again, I feel like that's come with more confidence of knowing I can do that. It means me concentrating on just not so much noise. So instead of me dealing with 15 clients at a time or 20 clients at a time, probably only going to concentrate on maybe like 4 and fill the rest out to the team to kind of concentrate on. I just don't feel, for me, it's all about quality. I want to really bring a lot of benefit to what I'm doing with my clients. And I feel like at the moment, or so far, I've kind of spread myself really thinly. So 2021 is all about simplifying, just concentrating on the quality, nice, chunky client work, and just building the team. You know, I want to build the team in a way where I can still feel confident to take on new clients, support more people, but it's just not me doing it. But I know that they will support me. They will support my clients in the same way that I would. So just stepping back, which is scary, because it's like letting go of my baby a little bit and allowing other people to kind of represent me or my family. So it's definitely simplified. I don't need to be Superwoman. I don't need to do it all. Just spending a lot more quality time with my friends and my family. And maybe trying to help more people who are at that startup position. So maybe doing more power hours where I just sit. It might be someone just has a list of questions because they just don't know how to start. They don't know how to move forward. They just don't know what to do. And I can just have, like I said, an hour with them. They can literally shoot loads of questions. And hopefully they just leave having more clarity on the direction and kind of nurturing some of that. Like I said, I feel like that some people, if they just have their hands held a little bit and just guided a little bit, they are more likely to survive and to grow and become that typical Vass client. You know, ultimately it's just I'm passionate about not everyone's the business owner, but those who are, you know, helping them to see the vision, to build the vision, to kind of support them into growing their business into what they want it to be. So I think just stepping away from, I just want to do things that I'm more passionate about. So like I said, the quality with the existing clients that I have, and then maybe the startup, because I feel like that's where I can give a lot of value.
Nice. Well, I wish you all the best with that.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best, and once again, thank you very much for taking even longer of for allowing me, should I say, to take even longer of your time and revisit this conversation.
No problem.
As you said, it definitely felt like a completely different conversation.
Definitely.
So yeah, no, that's good.
I was gonna say maybe you needed to like have a bit of a disaster, but I don't know.
No, I mean I'm very much of the kind of I very much learn from every lesson, right? Even this morning when I was late, it's like obviously the part that I needed to connect the microphones to the laptops and stuff like that. Like I learned from everything, and I definitely learned from that one. So trust me, when I tell you, as soon as that happened, I went out and bought 4 new hard drives. Like trust me, you're not catching me slipping again. Trust me.
I know.
Yeah, so,
when I was downstairs and I was saying to the guy, "Oh, I'm gonna need the meeting room again," and he was like, "Oh, you getting that?" And I was like, "No, same interview." But this is what happened. He was like, "Oh, well, he didn't have a backup." And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, no, we're not trying to hear that right now. But yeah, it was kind of like, because I could only imagine like sinking feeling that you must have had.
Yeah, it wasn't nice. But no, I've learned the lesson. So now it's I've got my systems in place now, so it won't happen again.
Good.
But once again, thank you very much. I do
You're
wish
very
you all the
welcome.
best,
Thank you.
and hopefully we can have another conversation where we're talking about how you've progressed over since this conversation. Should I say that would be a good one. That would be a good one. But yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Well, people, there we have it. Another episode in the bag. Zelica Jones from Vass. So once again, thank you very much for your time. Guys, like I said at the start, if you're liking the content, like, comment, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and the 5-star ratings. Don't think I forgot. Have you given me 5 stars since we started this?
Mr. Uber.
Exactly. Guys, I'm going to be checking, So yeah, please, if you could help me out, that would be great. Help us shoot up the charts organically. Because I mean, we need to get these conversations into people's ears, because there's a lot of gems in there for people to be hearing. So for now, I've been your host Darren, joined by Zelica Jones. Thank you very much. It's the Blackprint. Peace. Absolutely terrible. Just in the process of packing up, and I realised I didn't ask Zelica to shout out her social medias. So please, the floor is yours.
So on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, it's at We Are Vass. Yeah, on all platforms. If you need any one-to-one help with me, you can get me on at Zelica Jones on all platforms.
Nice. Thank you very much. Now I can promise you've actually finished.